What if I told you that Rome's most deadly secret wasn't gold or political scandals, but an entire legion of women warriors that someone desperately wanted erased from history? The Colosseum sleeps beneath a bruised purple dawn, its arches glowing like the ribs of some colossal fossil. Here's what we know for certain. Rome's legions were built on one iron rule: no woman shall bear the eagle. Every history book will tell you this. But here's what they won't tell you. A brittle scroll, hidden in the Vatican, lists a unit called Cohors Venus Victrix, 200 women sworn to defend the empire's darkest frontiers. Most historians call it tavern gossip. Others call it a translation error. But fragments of spear-scarred armor, sized for female frames, keep surfacing from Hadrian's Wall to the deserts of Dacia. Tonight, we're going full detective mode. We'll examine forbidden evidence, decode messages that imperial censors tried to destroy, and follow a trail that leads to one explosive question. Did Rome truly field an all-female legion? Or is this the greatest cover-up in ancient history? Chapter 2. Life inside a Roman legion. Before we can test the legend, we need to understand the machine it would have joined. Picture a Roman recruitment field outside Capua, banners snapping in the wind. New conscripts line up while centurions pace like hawks. Each recruit must stand at least 5 feet 6 inches, present calloused hands that prove labor, and swear the sacred oath, the sacramentum, binding them to obey orders until death. Women are nowhere to be seen, not even among the water carriers or camp cooks. Military law is crystal clear. Soldiers must be male Roman citizens, preferably farmers hardened by sun and plough. Once accepted, a man becomes property of the state for 25 relentless years. At sunrise, he hoists an 80-pound training pack and marches 20 miles, then practices shield drills until his arms shake. Meals are rationed barley and sour wine, beds are straw, punishments are brutal. Cowardice earns flogging, desertion earns crucifixion. Yet the legion offers what no peasant dreamer could refuse: steady pay, plunder, and the promise of land on retirement. Comradeship blooms in the ranks, and veterans brag they would rather lose a brother than a shield mate. Into this unforgiving brotherhood, our supposed women legion must somehow slip, either by secret decree or battlefield necessity. How could the empire bend its iron rule without leaving a trace? To find clues, we turn to the edges of the map, where records grow thin and danger grows thick. Chapter 3. Origins of the legend. Our trail begins in Britannia, AD 122, when Emperor Hadrian orders his famous wall. Garrison diaries from the northern forts complain of endless ambushes by Caledonian tribes, raids so fierce that seasoned legionaries desert in the night. One fragmentary tablet from the fort of Vindolanda makes a cryptic request: send the red-cloaked cohort. Morale depends upon their return. No known male unit wore crimson travel cloaks, but early Christian chroniclers later describe a scarlet host of maidens, terrible in war, fighting on Rome's frontier. Coincidence or corrupted memory? Jump east to dusty Dacia. A stray parchment discovered in a Transylvanian monastery lists auxiliary rosters for Legio 13 Gemina. Most names are scratched out, yet a surviving column shows Latin feminine endings like Julia, Flavia, Octavia next to standard issue pay. Scholars dismiss it as a clerical error, but local folklore tells of iron-hearted daughters who defended mountain passes while the main army marched south. Finally, a Spanish monk writing in the 9th century compiles miracle stories and slips in an odd digression. In the age of the pagans, a legion of women upheld the eagle when men faltered, but when peace returned, jealous senators burned their record. One margin note adds, Rome fears what it cannot rule. These scattered hints
Tablet, roster, monkish aside, may be inventions, yet together they form the scaffold of a legend, a secret cohort summoned only when Rome teetered, then struck from history the moment the crisis passed. If uncovering lost chapters like this fires you up, smash that like button right now. Seriously, it tells YouTube we're onto something worth investigating, and trust me, the evidence we're about to uncover gets absolutely wild. Chapter 5. Fact versus Fiction. Time to sift rumor from reality. First, Roman law, the lex militaris, explicitly barred women from enlistment. Official pay records list only male praenomina. On paper, a women legion is impossible. Yet Rome's bureaucracy hid embarrassments before. Political assassinations vanish from annals. Entire legions lost in Teutoburg are glossed over as operational setbacks. Silence in state archives proves censorship just as often as non-existence. Second, tactical logic. Frontier governors sometimes recruited irregulars when reinforcements lagged. If a besieged fort held surplus civilian wives and daughters, arming them could buy precious days. Once danger passed, commanders might purge documents to avoid Senate scandal, leaving only gossip and graves. Third, mythic contamination. Medieval scribes loved folding Amazon tales into Roman chronicles. The scarlet-cloaked heroines at Hadrian's Wall could be poetic embellishment, not eyewitness fact. But those scribes lacked X-ray spectrometry. They couldn't plant boar-stamped belt buckles in British soil. Finally, bias. Male historians shaped Rome's narrative for centuries. A triumphant female cohort threatened the patriarchy they championed. Erasure becomes self-preservation. So, hoax or hushed truth? Evidence remains maddeningly circumstantial, just enough to ignite belief, never enough to close the case. In the fog between fact and fiction, the Women Legion marches on. Chapter 7. Cultural Impact and Modern Resurgence. Legends thrive when they speak to the present. Enter pop culture. Wonder Woman's Amazons, Netflix's Barbarians, and every slow-motion shield bash montage owe a silent debt to rumors of Rome's women warriors. Each time Hollywood casts an armored heroine, Google searches for female Roman legion spike. The algorithm reanimates the myth feeds fresh scripts. Historians may wince, but museums quietly lean in. The British Museum's 2024 exhibition, Unruly Women of the Ancient World, displayed the Vindolanda sword wound skeleton beside a VR reenactment of a female cohort drilling on Hadrian's Wall. Attendants shattered projections. Schoolkids queued to swing foam gladii, yelling Latin mottos in mock shield walls. Academic purists protested, yet admissions doubled their research budgets. And then there's gaming. A 2023 Total War mod introduced the Cohors Venus Victrix as a recruitable unit. Players loved them. Higher speed, lower armor, morale buff when outnumbered. Forum debates erupted. Historically legit or fantasy pandering? Every argument kept the myth alive. Why does this resonate? Because it rewrites a story long told one way. It hints that power structures weren't as rigid, that courage ignored gender lines, that unseen heroes may still lurk beneath dust, and in an age hungry for lost voices, the Women Legion strides back into the spotlight, refusing to stay footnoted. Chapter 8. Conclusion and what we know. So, after scrolls, skeletons, campfire gossip, and late-night Reddit threads, where does the actual evidence land? Here are the hard facts. Roman military law names only male citizens. No surviving pay sheets list a female centurion. Every physical artifact, like belt buckles, pugios, bone injuries, can be explained by outlier burials, looted gear, or miscatalogued trinkets. But then we have the nagging anomalies. Vinderlander's Crimson Cloak tablet, and the Birdswold skeletons don't vanish under peer review, they just refuse tidy classification. Feminine Latin honorifics on a Dacian plaque shouldn't exist if women never bore arms. A senator's angry letter about abominations suggests something worth erasing. Here's how I see the probability spectrum. Option 1 is pure myth born from Amazon legends, academia's safest stance. Option 2 suggests emergency militias of camp followers, later romanticized. Option 3 proposes a covert auxiliary cohort sanctioned in crisis, then scrubbed to protect Rome's gender order. Each rung up that ladder requires more faith, but also explains more dangling clues.
History rarely gifts absolute verdicts. It hands us puzzles with missing pieces and tells us the empire burned the box top. My take? When evidence and erasure sit in the same room, I lean toward a truth half seen through smoke. Maybe not a full legion marching under eagles, but enough armed women to scare Rome's gatekeepers into silence. All right, decision time. Was Rome's women legion a battlefield reality, a whispered scandal, or just the empire's greatest campfire story? I've laid out every piece of evidence. Now I need to know what you think. Here's how we settle this. Drop a 1 in the comments if you think it's pure myth. Medieval monks chasing Amazon glory. Drop a 2 if you believe somewhere on a misty frontier, 200 iron-willed women really did stand shield to shield beneath the eagle, their records burned when peace made politics awkward. I'm pinning the best comments, so make your case. And listen, if you're hungry for more forbidden history that'll blow your mind, you need to subscribe right now. Hit that bell too, because next week we're diving into the cursed standard that doomed an entire cohort. Was it sabotage or sorcery? The evidence is absolutely terrifying. Until next campaign, valete. Stay curious, stay courageous, and keep questioning everything they taught you in school.